This is Natalie. This is
Hi.
Sydney and Kait and Kiana.
Hi. I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to meet you. Yeah. At what point are you going to stop, like, looking for other women?
Hey guys, welcome to the Geek Up. Today we're talking episode 7 of Farmer Wants a Wife. And today we have a special guest with us, Allison from the show this season.
That's right. How you doing, Allison?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We just finished watching episode 7. So what are you thinking so far?
Yeah, it's been slow moving, to be honest. I think compared to the first season, it's a little boring. I will say.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I know a lot of people are saying that as well. So.
Yeah, well, this show's not really known for too much drama, and they brag about how successful they are, but that's yet to be seen on the American series here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now, Allison, I know you were in Ty's camp, and you didn't last very long. Ty didn't end up picking you, but we pick you, so thanks for being here today.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. This is fun, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so what can you tell us about being in, like, Ty's camp and your experience with the show? Like, how did it come to be? How did you get selected to be on the show?
Yeah, so I watched the first season, and I didn't even finish the whole season, and I was, like, halfway through, and I was like, you know what? This might be fun. And I made a joke on my, like, Facebook where I was like, I'm going to be on the next season of Farmer Wants a Wife, so I applied for it. Just didn't put a whole bunch of effort into it, and then they ended up calling me the next day, and I was like, whoa, like, what's happening? And I mean, it was a long process. I'd say it was about 5-6 months of just interviews, like psych evaluations, medical, physical evaluations, all that stuff. And then I didn't fully know I was going to be on it until the day before I flew out for the show. So I went to Europe the beginning of September for 2 weeks, and that's when they originally were supposed to film. So they're like, okay, well, you can't do it. And then they changed the frame to be 2 days after I came back from Europe. And then they were like, okay, we booked your flight, you come out tomorrow. And I was just like, whoa. And I have to pack, 4 bags for 8 weeks of possibly being on a farm. And so it was crazy. I know it was the same for a lot of girls. Like, we all just didn't fully know, because our background checks and all that stuff, until like a day or two prior, if we were actually going to be on it or not.
So where did they do that original filming with all you guys?
Yeah, so the first episode was filmed at a farm in Alabama. It was called Otter Creek Distillery. It's just a beautiful, like, farm wedding venue. I think they do, like, hunting there. They breed dogs and stuff. But it was a very, very beautiful place in literally the middle of nowhere, Alabama. Like, we flew into Atlanta, and we drove over 2 hours just to get to, like, the hotels that we were staying at. And then the farm was a half hour from the hotels that we were staying at. So it was very much like the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Wow, that sounds like a crazy experience. I mean, especially getting the call the next day after you apply, and then things move kind of quick and then kind of slow, and you don't even know what's going on, I guess.
Yeah, it's very kind of all over the place, and it sounds like that was just how it was for everybody. So
wow. So how did you end up on Ty's squad here?
Yeah, so I couldn't tell you, because I know Sarah talked about it in her episode that we ranked kind of the farmers based off of who we liked, and I had 7 to kind of go through, watch their videos, and choose from. And Ty was not a top contender for me. Actually, my number one wasn't even on the show, and we don't know who's going to be on the show until literally we show up. Like, obviously they tell us the night before who we're paired with, but we don't know who the other farmers are until like the day of filming. So my number one wasn't on the show. My second pick was actually Mitchell, which, like, knowing him now, it would have never worked out. I can't remember who my third pick was, but Ty was my fourth. So, and nothing against him. I just, like, I didn't think our personalities would match up well. I think I live kind of like a super fast paced, super exciting life. Not to say that his life is boring, but I'm just like, I don't think that we would have never worked out. So it's totally fine that I didn't make it past the first episode. We didn't have really a connection in our one-on-one. And, I just wish I would have gotten to have a better experience with someone who I, like, actually was excited to, like, get to know, So They put me with Ty, I'm assuming because of my age, because I'm 34, and also I'm like have a really strong horse background, and he was the only farmer that had anything to do with horses. So it made sense why they put me with him, but like realistically it would have never worked out, which is okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wish they kind of like put you all in a room and then have a chance to mingle,
Yeah.
and then, you know, selections are made.
Yeah, that'd be a much better way to do it. Yeah, because
I
I mean,
agree.
like I said, from what Sarah said, it's like, they make it sound like in the show that, oh, these girls chose the farmer chose them, and in reality, it's like, not quite. So it's kind of shitty when when you hear that, and it's not, as I guess kind of as romantic or as high as that, as they kind of pointed out to be in when the show starts.
So how much time do you actually
Yeah.
get to spend with Ty?
It was truly like not even 10 minutes. And
Really?
it's
Wow.
just, it's hard because I know it's reality TV, okay? So it is real,
Right.
but it's very curated. Like if my walk-in wasn't right, I would have to refilm it. And like I'm walking in and there's 4 cameras in front of me with like, 20 people around those cameras. And it's very uncomfortable. They kind of try and like help guide the conversation and stuff like that. So it's just not a good way to get to know anyone. Like Ty doesn't know anything about me from that conversation. I don't know anything about him. So it's not, the first episode just seems kind of unfair to the girls who can't make it past the episode, because it's just, you can't get to know someone at all in that environment. The camera thing is all new to us. It's very nerve-wracking. I mean, you got to go through wardrobe, you got to go through makeup before you even step in front of the camera for the one-on-one. So it's a whole process, and you're like nervous. And I mean, obviously my one-on-one wasn't shown on the show at all. I mean, like I said, 2 days of filming for 15 hours for a like 40-minute episode. So you can imagine all the things that weren't shown. And then obviously with Kristin going home, that we knew that was going to take up a lot of like the airtime, which was kind of irritating, but that's a whole nother story. So
I mean, that's crazy because, like you said, it's almost hard to be yourself, right? You're just so nervous. You got cameras on your face, and not just for you, but for the farmer as well. So yeah, I can imagine how that, that quick little 10-minute speed round is really not much to go on for anybody.
Yeah, it's tough. So, and I'm sure it's tough for Ty and all the other farmers too to pick someone based off of that. So, it just wasn't easy all around. And I know he had a hard decision to make, and he just had to pick off of, that 10-minute conversation he had with all of us.
So did you get to make any bonds with any of the women there?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, we spent a lot of time together. I still talk to mostly all the girls. I mean, I talked to Brooke a couple hours ago. Like, I have a really close relationship with a bunch of them. I'm going to see Brooke and Amy in a couple weeks here soon. But the girl who I like immediately bonded with was Megan from my group. Like, I mean, it was just instant. We were like best friends from the second we met. She was so sweet. We have similar personalities. And I was hoping that she was going to make it far. So I think honestly, when I was cut, I was truly more sad about like leaving her and like the other girls, because we just had so much fun, more than anything, and getting to experience that with them. So Megan was definitely someone I bonded with the most, but I became close with everyone in our group besides Kristin, because Kristin didn't talk to anybody. So
Well, that's super cool that you get to meet all these new people and stay in contact and stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. And Megan's a sweetheart. I think she handles the situation very well and is very mature about how, just everything that goes on in the show. So
yeah. The Fox executives came in and met us on the first day, and they're like, listen, everyone in this room, they're the only people that are going to know what you're going through right now. So like, we're kind of bonded for life in that way, because it's true. Like even the people from season 1 didn't go through to an extent some of the things that we went through. So it's just nice to always have those friendships for sure.
yeah, well, especially the stuff we see happen in this episode when they have the girl, right? That didn't happen in season 1. So
Yeah. And I knew that was going to happen. And I think I might have been one of the only girls that knew. And that was just because of me being cut the first episode. I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and a producer confirmed it. They're like, well, if you guys would watch the Australian version, like you would know that we do this. And I was like, so no one knew that it was going to happen at all. And I know Megan texted me like a couple weeks after it happened. And I was like, so did the new girl show up yet? And she was like, how did you know about that? And I was like, I knew from the first day that was going to happen. So
I thought that was a good twist this season, though. So
well, let's get into it.
But knowing what you know now, which farmer would you choose?
Or any.
honestly, I hate to say it because I am 34, but I love Nathan. Like, I think he is so sweet and just like, I think they're all there relatively for the right reasons, but Nathan truly, like, he's there for his wife. And I don't know if our personalities would have clicked because I didn't really get to talk with him at all, but like, he's definitely my favorite of this season for sure.
Oh,
Trying to rob the cradle. Unbelievable.
Right, yeah. Nathan's a good kid, man. He really is. Like, he is, like you say, he's a sweetheart. That dude just, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he just seems like a very honest and really good dude.
Yeah, for sure. So.
All right, well, let's get into the episode. This episode's all about the new ladies.
Right.
So last episode, they got to figure out whether they got to meet a new lady and determine whether they want to bring them back. And these guys bring every single one of them home.
And one of the funniest part too was like freaking I can't think of his damn name now. Mitchell. He was like, I'm not gonna bring a new girl home. It wouldn't be right for these girls. And then this dude shows up with a chick. I was like, oh man.
I really didn't think, I knew that all the others were going to bring him back, but I really didn't think Mitchell was because he just has such a strong connection with Sydney. I'm like, what's the point, of bringing this girl back? But
yeah, well, I mean, things were going pretty well with him and Natalie, so I see why he did. So
yeah, but see, here's the thing with Mitchell. What I've learned, like watching the show and watching his interaction with the women, he, and you saw whenever he had his one-on-one with Natalie, at the camping area, they're just kind of sitting there not talking. It's like every time he has one of those awkward situations, it's almost like he's expecting the woman to talk first and to start the conversation. And when it doesn't happen, he's like, he doesn't know what to talk about, right? So it's almost like for him to be comfortable, she's got to start the conversation and get it going. Otherwise, for him, it's just a bad experience. And he's like, I wasn't digging it because, we just didn't say much.
Yeah, and we see that from Ty as well, somewhat too. So.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, and I wonder how much, like, I watched that scene and just after, going through it, I'm like, I wonder how much of that was edited. Like, was it really like an awkward silence, or did they just kind of throw that in there to make it seem like that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So Ty brings Ashleigh home, and Melody and Brooke are not happy about it.
Well, they didn't stick to their guns, man. Melody was like, in the last episode, I'm packing my bags, I'm getting the hell out of here, and then nope. Didn't stick to her guns, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame the girls being upset because it's like the farmer bringing someone home is just basically saying to your face, like, I don't have a strong connection with anyone here. I'm going to bring another girl in. So I can totally get being upset. I think Megan handled it well, just saying, like, don't be mad at this girl. Like, be mad at Ty. He's the one that brought her back. So, and I don't think anyone was like specifically mean to the new girls at all. I just think they were just upset over the situation and all of that. But I mean, I can't blame them. But at the end of the day, I mean, the farmer's going to pick who he wants to pick. And if it's you or the new girl, it's you got to deal with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think the only one that actually went well was Nathan's. And that was because he brought, Mackenzie back. Yeah. And all the girls like, oh my God, Mackenzie's back. That's great, But,
yeah, and it's got to be awkward for the woman coming into this situation, like halfway through the game too, right? And then she walks in and is like, "Hey guys,
right. I'm the new girl."
Yeah. So many of them take a while to get warmed up, but then Ty has them wrangle some cattle, and it's kind of forgotten about for a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, Brooke was still like, she was upset the whole time, like she just couldn't quite get over it.
She probably had the hardest time.
Yeah, and then Ty is like, I'm kind of, not feeling Brooke now because of her attitude to me bringing this new girl in. It's like, seriously, dude? I'm like, it ain't the new girl, it's you. You're the problem for bringing her in, right? That's why she's pissed off. It's like, what an asshole thing to say.
You forget about things when you have some cows to wrangle, I guess. But,
I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point you got to move on, right? Or leave, one or the other. So
one of the two, for sure.
So Brandon welcomes Emerson home, and now he only had 2 women at this point, and Emerson and him are making a strong connection. As a matter of fact, before he brings her in, she pulls him in for a kiss.
Oh yeah, they're making out quite a bit in the truck there, man.
So that's kind of crazy.
I like Emerson. I feel like she's got just like a really strong personality. I feel like she's kind of similar to me, and she knows what she wants and she's kind of taken hold of it. So it's not surprising at all that he brings her back. And I wouldn't be surprised if, she makes it all the way or she's one of the final 2. They seem to have a connection right out the gate, which I think Brandon seems that he's kind of struggling with through the whole season. I'm really close with Reba, so I obviously was hoping for her to make it, but we all know how that went down.
Oh wow, we love some Reba.
We do love Reba. She was one of the ones that was commenting, talking with us early on, like with after our first couple episodes, she was chatting with us a lot and stuff, and it was good to talk to her. But
you either love Reba or you hate her. That's typically how it goes with her. So
Exactly.
But yeah, I agree. I think she's coming out strong, and like Joy has kind of faltered lately. I do like Grace, but I mean, this connection is just hot from the get go. So, and she seems to be assimilating probably the best of all the
really
new
well.
girls. So,
Yeah,
no doubt.
I agree.
all right, so let's talk about Mitchell and Natalie. He kind of walks in, and I thought at first he didn't choose anyone, but surprise, she's waiting in the car. And the
yeah.
girls are shocked too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they should have been, right? I mean, it's like we said earlier, like you're going to spring this on them after they've been with you for 3-4 weeks now, trying to get to know you and everything, and then you're bringing these new girls in, and it's like, well, that's just cutting out of more time that these girls have to continue to grow their relationship with the farmer, right? And that's another thing that Ty said. He's like, when he said, "Oh, well, me bringing this new girl in, it's not going to affect things with the other girls." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about? Of course, it's going to affect things with the other girls because they're missing out on more time with you now because you should give more time to new chicks." So it's like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and one of them even remarks like, there must be something we're not giving you or missing that you feel like you need. So I could see that angle too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what'd you think about that about Natalie?
Yeah, I just think from the episode prior, it seems like him and Natalie have a lot in common, but I truly don't think anyone can match what him and Sydney have. So, like, to me, I just thought it was kind of pointless to bring Natalie back, but that might change, I know all of the girls besides the new girls. So, like, I don't know anything about them. I don't know, like, I didn't hear much about them. So that might change in the coming episodes, but I'm just like, I think he's got the girls he needs. I think, like, there was no need for it, really.
Yeah, and I don't think he wanted to, but the connection was pretty good. And I guess he talked to his brother, and maybe his brother convinced him, said, yeah, why not? What's one more?
Right, exactly, of course. Yeah. But when they had their little lunch date or whatever, when he first met her, yeah, it did seem like they had a good connection, but she was talking a lot, we're just making him comfortable, helping him talk. But I'm telling you, man, he's one of those guys where he wants the woman to do the talking, and wants them to kind of initiate the conversation. And when they don't, he's kind of uncomfortable. And like I said, we saw that with one of the other dates he had when he let her go. We saw that on this last episode whenever he was sitting down with her at the campfire. Just like they were both just kind of sitting there not talking, and she really didn't start a conversation, so he just seemed really awkward. But yeah, I don't know. And I just and then of course, and then he's saying, well, maybe it wasn't a good idea to bring her in. It's like, oh, you think?
Yeah, truly.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you. Like, his connection with Sydney's pretty strong, and she's really cool throughout this. Like, she just is chilling on the couch. The other two kind of storm off, and she's like, I'm committed to you at this point. And, like, she's like, if you need to go explore that, do that. But, so I really like Sydney, and I think she's definitely the number one in that camp.
Yeah, Sydney's a sweet girl. I got to know her a lot from the first episode. It's just crazy, like, to me, being as old as I am, like how young she is, and I'm like, you have so much life to live, you know?
Yeah, but then she did at the end. She did change her tune once Jennifer kind of came out and talked to the girls, and she was like, "Hey, if you got a thing going on, you better let the farmer know how you feel." And she's like, maybe I better do that." So then she went and kind of told him, "Hey, I know I told you this about getting to know her better, but I need my date."
Well, she's always excited that she's going to be chosen for the one-on-one date, but then she's very patient, doesn't get chosen. And I think he knows what he's got with her, so he wants to explore the other women. And she's, been kind of fine with that, but I think she's just like, you know what? No, I want my time. So.
Exactly.
So now Nathan brings back Mackenzie, and this is kind of the safest one because she was already on the show. Yeah. So no surprise here that he brings her back, and the women are pretty welcoming of her. They seem really happy, honestly.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Mackenzie's a sweetheart, and I think everybody was really upset when she left in the beginning, and it's cool to see her back, and we'll see how that grows. I think she'll be a contender.
Yeah, now Kristin's there, and she hasn't had her one-on-one time, so she's just kind of been like ignored a little bit.
Yeah, and what's funny is too is I think Mackenzie and Kristin kind of look alike. Like, to me, they look kind of similar. I'm seeing them both. So.
Yeah, and Nathan has them dig like holes for a fence post or something like that. I mean, they sprinkle like some of these things. What do you think about the farming stuff that they're showing?
Yeah, I think it's all very weak compared to like what they did on season 1. Like, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, digging holes in the ground and picking.
They didn't even seem like they were doing anything with it. Like, just dig a hole right here or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like, and I know what Ryan said. It's all the farms are they're self-ran, so there's not like a lot of things you have to end up doing. But I was just, it's really not much about the farming this season, I feel like, and all that stuff. So I'm excited to see Mackenzie back for sure. I know the girls are excited. It would be like me coming back, and I just have that connection with all the girls. We'd be all excited to see each other. And it was unfortunate that literally after that last night of filming, she had to go home, and her dad actually, he recently passed away. So I feel for her.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she was able to get a little bit back onto the show and continue to go on with it. She's a really sweet girl. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
It's good that she's back. So yeah, some of the I kind of wish they had competitions on these farms, and maybe that's how you earn your one-on-one
that'd
day.
be
Something
cool.
like that. Like make these women like try and work for it or something. I don't know. Like they need to revamp some of these. Like even when they were setting up the tents and like Brandon was like, "Hey, I want to be the first one." I thought that was kind of cool, and that wasn't even like a competition or anything. You're just making it a competition.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So I thought that would have been cool.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. That'd be really cool if they did something like that and it'd spice it up a little bit and add a little. I mean, it's like you were saying, Allison, it's just pretty boring so far, right? So they did stuff like that, to kind of spice it up, add a little extra to the show. That'd be great.
yeah, like some barrel racing on Ty's farm.
Yeah,
That's my
go.
forte. Yeah, I think that, I don't know if not everyone's comfortable like being in front of the cameras. I mean, if they showed the show of what's happening when the cameras aren't around, this would be like a wild TV show. But I know they're trying to keep like their little wholesome, like, farmer wants a wife, picturesque, whatever. So it's just, there's so much happening off screen. Like you see Brooke angry and everyone's like, why is she angry? And I'm like, well, I know why she's angry because of all of these things that happened and this and that. And it's just, they don't show any of that. So it's like, and Taylor comes out of nowhere with Nathan. And it's like, well, how much happened off camera for the whole month prior of their date, and things like that. So I do kind of question production and like why they're showing what they're showing. And I get it, but it's just a lot of the fans are just like, I don't care anymore. Like it's kind of just coasting at this point. Like nothing's really happening. It's not like we want drama. It's just, I don't see any connections on camera really, to be honest. So it's hard because this is a dating show at the end of the day. Like where's the dating? Where's the connection? Where's the love? It's just like nowhere.
Right. Well, and then, and I've mentioned this before, like kind of, sticking up for Reba, it sucks when you have, because who knows? I mean, those few moments that she blew up and stuff could have been the only time she did it. But because of the fact that it's going to add that little drama, you bet your ass they're going to show it on TV. So it's like, they're, it's showing, it's making her look bad. But in reality, maybe she was just having a bad day earlier and then she just kind of blew up a little bit right there. But, other than that, she was fine. Right. So.
Yeah, and I do like that they kind of go for the wholesome because too many people aren't. So, but I think they can also like spice it up and make it interesting, and then focus on the love aspects. You don't have to focus on the drama aspects, but you can focus in on that. Yeah. So, and I think everyone like has a hard time like trying to sort out the girls, even from a fan standpoint. So I can't imagine like the farmers and stuff going on with this. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, the reason why I applied for the show because I was like, this is like one of the most wholesome dating shows and one that my family can watch, and I'm not going to be embarrassed by anything I do or say. So I get that, and there's just like from the sounds of it, it sounds like they're only filming like 2 days a week, if that. So they're together all that other time. It's that one episode. What was the second one that Reba was complaining about Joy, and they're like, she doesn't even know Joy, and I'm like, she spent like 2 weeks with her by then. So it's just, there's just, people have to remember that, and I get people don't get that because they've never done reality TV. So like to them, what they see on TV is what it is, and there's just so much more to it that people don't know about.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so they announced they're all going camping. So they get together in South Carolina. They're setting up the tents. What'd you think about those scenes?
Good, man. I mean, at the school to just see everybody back together again. It kind of gives the girls time to unwind together, the farmers time to unwind together, and everybody just kind of chat and relax a little bit and kind of get away from, just the secludedness of the house, I guess, right? Just
I tell you, they picked some beautiful spots.
Oh, yeah, they do. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
So now everyone's kind of vying for the next solo date, and everyone's kind of having their little time, like peeling off from the group and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then this is where you see, like I said, where you have. Well,
I did like that Nathan chose Kristin because I was worried about Kristin. Hadn't had a one-on-one date, so he brings her on the lake, but it just does not seem like they have a connection at all.
No, and she said that. She was like, yeah, it's cool for him to take me out on the boat, but I'm still just kind of feeling like we're in the friend zone.
Yeah, and I think that's what they need more is that one-on-one time with each girl because maybe Kristin never had any one-on-one time with him. So she was like, I don't know if I like this guy or not. Like, I need to get to know him. And then, maybe that little conversation they had, she was like, you know what, I'm not feeling it. So I don't blame her. It didn't seem like there was a connection, but you know, it just, if it's not there, why waste your time? You know, I feel like the girls that stick around at that point are just doing it to be on TV. So
Right.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of these guys, these farmers, are kind of timid, maybe because it's the whole.
Nathan
So it almost
especially.
seems like the girls need to be the ones to make the moves. Here,
Nathan's
so.
a very timid, slow-moving dude. Yeah, and he's not going to be the guy to really make the moves for sure. And and Jennifer Nettles talked to him about that, right? So
Yeah, I mean that's true. So I mean he's got the connection with Taylor. And they're pretty strong. So, but yeah, I think she's probably next to go, unfortunately. So. And there's probably a reason why she hasn't gotten much time at this point. So, but she needed to make some moves on that boat, and it just didn't happen.
yeah, well, that's the thing. Most women, I think, are not expecting to have to be the one to make the moves all the time, right? I mean, a woman's wanting the guy to make the move. Like, hey, if you're into me, then freaking show me you're into me, right? And this dude's not just, he's just not that kind of person. He's just a very timid dude.
Well, Ryan did get some blame for that because he was one to make some moves.
yeah.
But Mitch does his thing where he lays the blanket down and hangs out with Natalie. I was kind of surprised he chose Natalie because she's the newest one now on the show, but he gives her more time and does his little picnic blanket thing. But for some reason, it's not happening this time.
No, like I said, man, because, I think he was expecting her to kind of lead the conversation, and when she didn't, he was just kind of...
To see that conversation compared to their conversation where they had in the restaurant, like one-on-one, I was like, is this the same, like, girl? Like, what's going on here? They seem to, like, connect that day, but then like not that during the camping episode. So that was kind of strange.
Yeah, and it's like you said, there's so much stuff going on behind the scenes that that we don't see. That maybe something happened, or maybe he just didn't talk to her anymore until this point, or what? That, we have no idea, right? So
yeah, who knows? I mean, Jennifer Nettles pulls everyone in, and then she's like asking Emerson about her experience, and she kind of like reveals that she kissed Brandon.
Yeah.
So, and then what? Taylor's there, and she's friends with Grace, so she has to run off and tell Grace and spill the tea.
Yeah.
And Grace actually took that pretty well. I like her.
Yeah, she did. No, and when she talked to Brandon about it, she said, "Look, I kind of heard this. She's like, I just want to make sure, that you and I are still in it." He's like, "Oh no, I'm still in it with you." And then he kind of gave her that assurance, right? So
yeah, Grace is like, "Well, damn, I better go get my kiss from him then." So and she goes and gets it. So
yeah,
I like
she
that
did.
she kind of stepped it up there. That was good to see.
No doubt.
Yeah, I love Grace. I mean, I had a couple conversations with her from the first episode, but she just seems like a really sweet girl. She seems like she could absolutely live that lifestyle, and in that small town, that's the biggest thing. Is like Brandon, I mean, he was 4 hours away from the airport. I remember producers saying they were nervous about even getting food for like the crew while they were filming there because it's so desolate where he's at. So, it's not only having that connection with him, but like, can I live, out here? And, I know Grace is from Wisconsin. She's a Midwest girl like me. So, I think she could handle it well, and she's really sweet and has a great personality. So I'm definitely rooting for her.
Yeah, I like Grace. I think Grace is cool. I mean, and I do like the new girl, Emerson. I like her. And I think as far as that whole group goes now at this point, I think Joy's the odd man out. And I think we're going to see her gone in the next episode.
We didn't see too much from her this episode. But yeah, that last episode did not go well with Brandon. So
no, I feel like it should have just ended there at that last episode. Like, what do you mean that you're on a reality TV show for dating to find a future husband, and you're sitting here saying that like you don't have like empathy, or like you're guarded? And I can't even remember what she said.
Crazy.
When I saw that, I was like, what is happening here? Like, why is she even here? Is she? Yeah, it was just. And again, like, I don't like to judge any of the girls because I know how much stuff can be like skewed with like editing and things like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, she said what she said, and I'm just like, you do know this is a dating show, like, why are you here? So
exactly.
I think she's just happy-go-lucky, and maybe the cameras got to her too, and she just couldn't think on her feet and say the right thing. So I get it, but like, you got to recover from that at the same time, though. You got to like reassure him and backtrack. And I mean, I think she realized she kind of messed up, but she never like fixed it either. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think at this point, Joy's just kind of along for the ride. I think she knows she's not a match for him, and I think she thinks that he's probably not a match for her either. I think she's just kind of enjoying her time on the farm now at this point. So
well, and Brandon just can't go eliminating people because he's kind of short, right? So
yeah, and who knows? And maybe behind the scenes, maybe the producers are like, "Hey, bro, you just don't eliminate anybody right now. You just got to keep everybody. You're short on people." So
yeah, that's true.
So Brooke approaches Ty, and that conversation doesn't really go well either.
No, and I definitely didn't expect it to after see her initial reaction.
Yeah, I mean, she's been, from what they show, kind of like bitter about this whole thing, bringing on a new woman, and she just hasn't really recovered from it. But she tries here, but Ty's not that receptive.
No, Ty is basically an asshole in this episode. Or at least they make him out, to look like one for sure. Just his reactions about, just not being empathetic to the women and how they feel and how, like, and then him saying, oh, me bringing this new girl shouldn't change anything. It's like, hell yeah, it's going to change stuff, man. Like, how are you going to figure it's not going to change anything?
Yeah, I mean, he almost felt like she owed him something compared to the other way around.
Right, yeah.
Like, hey, sorry about this. I know it's going to shake up the house and trying to build connections, but like he didn't really even seem to go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think Ty and Brooke had a really strong connection from like the start, and we see it in the Clemson football episode. And she does make the comment saying like, oh, go get to know the other girls. But now at this point, they're a month and a half in that episode, like around that time frame. And I think she's just irritated because she's never had a one-on-one with him, like on or off camera, really, to an extent. So it's like, she's probably like, why am I here? This guy's not putting in any effort for me. Just at that point, I'd be like, send me home, So I don't blame her. She's just frustrated, and you're seeing that on camera, and it's coming out when he brings another girl home and all of that. So I can totally feel where she's coming from for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised she didn't leave. Like, I was totally expecting her to go, and I'm surprised she didn't just walk out.
Yeah, and it's a two-way street too. It's just not all them buying for you. Like, at some point, you got to try and win them over as well.
And all I can say is, after watching this episode, I think you dodged a bullet, Allison.
Yeah. I mean, I knew I dodged a bullet before the show even aired, so I'll just leave that there.
Well, good stuff. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't get to the one-on-one pickings this episode, so I guess we have to wait another episode to figure out who they choose.
Yeah, and they made it sound like it was going to be this episode too, right? And then at the very end, they just kind of cut it off. It's like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, and then we see the preview for the next episode, and some women are like, hey, you got to eliminate some people and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe these farmers are just, again, they like having all these women around. I don't know.
Well, I think it was Brooke telling Ty, hey, it's time for you to eliminate somebody. Yeah. So,
which is kind of surprising, because I'm like, you better be careful what you ask for.
Well, at that point, I don't think she cares. I think she's like, if it's gonna be me, then send me home. I don't care, but you need to make some decisions here. It's kind of, I think, where she just fed up, I think. It's like Allison said, rightfully so, right? So
yeah, I just feel like there's no structure to the show when it comes to eliminations and stuff, which just seems kind of messy to me. I mean, I feel like last season, not a bunch of girls ended up sending themselves home, and now girls are sending themselves home left and right. And it's just the men not stepping up and doing what they know they have to do. Like, the girls know that there's no connection, like Melanie and all of them were just like, I'm not feeling it. If he's not going to send me home, then why am I going to stay? So it's kind of annoying to see that the girls have to be the ones to make that decisions. But, I give them props for not wasting any more of their time or the farmers' time and just being like, I'm going to go.
Yeah, very true. I think more women have probably eliminated themselves this season than the men have.
Yeah.
So,
and we kind of complained about that in season one because, like you just said, the farmers in season one really weren't letting women go early enough, right? They were keeping women around too long a lot of times, and it was just like, dude, you got to start letting people go to make better connections with other people. And I think, like you said, it's still kind of an issue in this season, right? The farmers aren't really letting women go. They're finally just pulling themselves out saying, obviously, this isn't going to work, when the farmers should be making these decisions.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so what are their final thoughts on this episode here?
Ah, man, like I said, it totally, I thought Ty was a decent dude, through most of the show, but he just made us look like an asshole. And again, editing, right? I mean, it could be just the editing of it, but but you can't, but what he said what he said, right? I mean there's no.
Maybe it's editing, maybe he had like a long night, or,
who knows?
Didn't present well. Who really knows? But I mean, he's probably my least favorite anyway, but.
And I'll say, like, out of all, like, we're talking about how he wasn't empathetic towards women at all. At least Mitchell, I think Mitchell was wrong for bringing Natalie, because he said he wasn't going to bring anybody home in the last episode. He's like, nope, I'm not bringing a new girl into this, can't do it. And he did, but at least he kind of, like, as soon as the women started reacting the way he did, he was like, oh shit, I think I messed up. And then he was being very empathetic to them, like, look, I understand. And he was trying to get their perspective, right? So I thought at least that was good of him to do that.
Now, do you think, Mitchell and Sydney seem really tight. Do you think, the producers could be going, like, hey, we got to make this a show. You just can't be all over Sydney and vice versa. Don't choose her, do this. Do you think they're pushing Mitchell in certain directions with that, and that's why things are kind of the way they are?
We all saw it from the first episode of him and Sydney and their connection, and I think he truly is trying to feel it out with the other girls to see, is Sydney the one, or, is someone else? He's giving everyone a chance. I think he's doing it really well. I like that he's picking other girls to get to know them on the one-on-ones and stuff like that. But it just seems like him and Sydney have the most in common, truly, out of everyone on his farm. So, I mean, who knows? This Natalie girl might throw us for a loop that we don't even know about.
Well, she
I
better
don't know
step
anything
it up.
about
She better step it up more than what she did on that blanket, I guess. So I don't know. But
yeah, that's true.
yeah. So I think Sydney and Emerson,
Oh yeah,
they're hard to beat right now. I think.
Yeah, no,
for
I
those
agree.
two. And I think Taylor's kind of got it in the bag for Nathan.
yeah, I would agree with that as well.
So
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about Ty then? Who do you think?
Honestly, I mean, for a while we were thinking Melody, like, right? Okay, he's probably gonna go Melody. I think that's kind of who he had his eyes on from the get go, and then.
yeah, I just don't know if
and then
she
it's like, well, at this
fits
point, I
the
just don't
farm
know.
life, though.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, I don't think she necessarily does, right? I mean, she might at the end of the day probably wouldn't be completely happy with that lifestyle, but from what just from what direction he was going, I thought for sure. I think me, you, Ashleigh, we all did thought for sure that like Melody was going to be the one, and then kind of he's, it just hasn't been the case lately, right? So
Yeah, I mean, we
Or
haven't
that's
really
what we've
seen her do too much
Yeah.
lately,
So-
but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any like really strong connections. I just like I said, I don't know Ty much outside of that first episode. It just seems he's very like closed off, and I don't know if that's like how he is or if it's because of the cameras or whatever the situation is, but he just doesn't seem to be taking like full grasp of the opportunity in front of him. He's got I mean, I love all the girls, but I truly feel like all the girls that Ty had were like the best of the best. And I was like, there's no way he can't go wrong with any of us, really. And I don't know. I'm very confused of how it's going to turn out. So
we've talked about it before. I think part of the problem is the whole, not wanting to have a kid
Yep.
scenario, and the fact that the girls were completely taken by surprise by that. So you could tell they were not told about that beforehand. And I think that threw a lot of the women off, and rightfully so, right? So I think that's probably part of the problem as well.
Yeah, I just don't think it works with Ty, and even if he ends up with a girl at the end of the season, I just bet it doesn't last very long. So
Especially if she's still hell bent on having kids, and he's like, because you can tell
Yeah, that's a deal breaker for one,
At this
so.
point, that dude does not want to have kids. He can say, "Yeah, I'll think about it," but no, you can tell in his mannerisms and the way he's acting, that dude doesn't want another kid.
yeah, and I don't know. Like I think like his attitude or something gets in his way. I just don't see him picking one of these girls or it lasted very long. So, but yeah, I could see like Nathan having a long relationship with Taylor. And
Yeah,
maybe Brandon, except like he seems like he's
Emerson.
got some things going on in his own life he needs to figure out too, like maybe get off his dad's farm or whatever.
Right, get his own farm in.
Develop his own potatoes here or whatever.
Right.
So, but yeah,
it'll be interesting, and I'll be interested to see what people have to say about it all in the end. So
Yeah, no doubt.
nice. So what's going on in your life? Have you met a man yet, or you still looking?
yeah, I'm dating, but I'm still single. I've been single for a while. I'm kind of picky because I am so happy being single. Like I'm truly enjoying it. So like, I mean, everyone says that if someone's going to come into my life, they need to add some value to me. I mean, I own my own house. I have a good job and all that stuff. So, so we'll see, but I'm still looking. So
Nice.
reality
So-
TV didn't work for me, unfortunately.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That is episode 7 down. Allison, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And as always, guys, hit that like and subscribe. And we love chatting with you. So hit us up. Let us know what you think. If you got questions, maybe Allison answer some as well. And we will check you guys at our next review.
See ya.
Yeah, bye guys.